Hi everybody, this is Christy Allen. So just going over here, I have a website here that I want to go over. So first of all, I want to welcome you all and thank you all for coming to this session here. And yes, I am doing this solo. Nobody is here, so I'm talking to myself, but hey, that's okay. So first, the recording, anytime that you come into a Zoom, we will record the session only so that the people that are not able to attend it at the time that it was going can go ahead and watch it as a replay. The only way that they'll be able to view that is if the link was sent to them specifically. So I don't send the replay link out into the forum for any public display. So everything that gets recorded on here, it's stated within the recording. If you've never been on a Zoom before, once you come on, you'll have an option of if you want to allow your microphone or your video camera to capture you. So if you choose that you don't want to be seen or you don't want to be heard, that's perfectly fine. This is an interactive environment, online environment, but it does not mean that you have to participate just because you came in. You could easily mute yourself, turn the video recorder that's recording or picking up on you, and have that blocked off so that it'll probably just display whatever your login name was. So you could just go into listen and watch mode without actually participating if that's something that is an option that you want to do. Because sometimes we do these Zooms late at night. You might be in your pajamas, and that's perfectly fine. You might have already done your little routine and wiped your makeup off, and you don't want to be seen, and that's perfectly fine. But this is still a safe environment, that we're non-judgmental environment. So that's perfectly fine as well. Or if you just want to unmute yourself and have the video shut off, that's fine too, so that you can go ahead and speak and interact. So that's pretty much what a Zoom is, and it allows for us to all come into this environment and at the same time, and if we're not able to bring everybody in at the same time, at least the people that were not able to get the information can watch the replay on their own time when they have availability. So that is how we conduct these. So the reason why this subject hit home today was because this morning I woke up and my wonderful, wonderful menstrual cycle started like a week early. I was not expecting to wake up and feel crampiness and go to the restroom and have to start a new cycle already. So, I am 44, so I'm pretty sure, that's just how it goes when you start to get older. The whole, what do you call it? See, my brain is totally zapped. It's been like this all day too. So, what is it called? Yeah, you all know. I don't want to. That's what it is. I don't want to manifest it, so I'm not going to say it, whatever it is that is when you get old. So it reminded me, though, I haven't been too conscientious of doing this lately, but it did remind me that when I was in the military, and I was always having to perform and always being active and pushing myself for physical activity, not just for Marine Corps standards, but for my own personal standards and my own personal goals, was I started to learn that our menstrual cycle has certain points where you have better days performance-wise of your training regiment, and you have days that are not so great based off of your hormone levels, your estrogen and testosterone that's going on in your body. Actually regulate that. And once I started learning about the menstrual cycle and how it plays in with your training and your physical and your psychological aspect, and what days are key for being aware and alert of certain things, it made it easier for me to plan my workouts in accordance with my menstrual cycle. It made it easier to understand that there was going to be some days, because of my hormone levels, that I would be more subjective to the retail therapy. And I needed to be aware of that, because then if I didn't want to if I didn't have extra funds for that particular month, I needed to be aware of that so that I didn't fall into that trap of going out and having retail therapy and then overstep my means and my living boundaries. So, and then have to go into that like remorse mode. So, it was interesting because I came across an app, and at the time I had an iPhone, and I thought it was called H-Scope, and I don't have an iPhone anymore. I have an Android. So it is called the Hormone Horoscope. So I don't know if you could see that. So that's the Hormone Horoscope. And yeah, like right there, it has a nice little schedule. Like I already pre-programmed it. I went to my settings. In the settings, if you can see all that, it starts asking you how many days are your cycles usually, what cycle day are you on right now. So since today I started with day 1. And then it allows you to annotate if you want to receive daily reminders of your hormone horoscope and what time that you specifically, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, my camera's a little bad. If you want to specifically see, get a reading for it. So because today is day 1, that is my day 1 starting, and then it gives me a little calendar view of how my cycle will affect certain elements within my physiological and psychological hormonal levels. So this is really helpful. And you can see it's all nice and color-coded as far as the phases in the cycle. So what I wanted to point out first and foremost before even going into what the phases are and talking about the phases is we are more in a phase in our society where women are doing more and we have more choices and over our bodies and what our desires are. But we kind of forget the fact that technically our body doesn't care about what we want it to do. It is already pre-programmed. It is pre-programmed to prepare for a living being to be created once a month. Now, whether that happens or doesn't happen, the body doesn't care. The body just knows that its purpose is to prepare for the development of a new being within this being. So with that in mind, once I kind of like grasped that concept, it made it easier for me to respect my body instead of feeling resentful. Oh, it's my period. And I still remember the day. I still remember being in 6th grade. It was 6th grade that we had our sex class. And I still remember that day vividly. I can remember, it was beautiful outside, and I'd rather be outside than talking about, people telling me that I'm now going to have blood gushing out of my lady parts. And I remember them telling me about, oh, it's such a beautiful thing, and you're entering womanhood. And they tried to romanticize it. And I just kept thinking to myself, what is so glorious about that? There's nothing that I'm hearing that sounds wonderful. Knowing now what the body has the capability of doing, and I'm not just talking about the aspect of a woman, but what our body processes on a daily basis. It's just miraculous. I mean, just to think about how our body is actually processing food and distributing and pushing it out to the rest of our body, or processing and filtering so it's removing waste. I mean, down to the cellular part of what our body is doing. It's just phenomenal if you really think about it. And so once I kind of like understood that, and I understood that, you know, my body is preparing to bring a new being into this world on a monthly basis, not when it is actually conceived, but on a monthly basis. This is what my body is conditioned and programmed to do. It made it easier for me to respect my body and what it was doing. And once I was able to respect my body, I was able to look at it as a nurturing process that if I'm giving people the respect that they have their choices and that they have their purpose in life, and whether I understand what that purpose is or don't understand what that purpose is, I still allow their presence to be a presence. Then I started to understand how to respect the process that my body was going through, and I was able to tailor around those conditions so that we now worked in unison and harmony instead of working against each other. So our energies were not pushing against each other like two magnets and repulsing against each other. We were able to merge and attract and be one, and be able to, once I was respecting my body and able to work with it, it was then able to respect my wishes and my goals and my desires. And my body was able to then respond the way that I had planned and anticipated for my workouts to go. So I wanted to share that because I think there's a lot of women that struggle with not understanding what their bodies are doing and not respecting what their bodies are doing. Not saying that they're purposely not respecting, but I don't think they have as much of a understanding of true understanding and true respect for that. And once they do, I think that they will be able to come together in peace and harmony with their goals and desires, and be able to make the two work hand in hand. There was another thing that just popped in my head I was going to hit on. Oh, so the thing that kind of like solidified why I started to believe that what I just explained about respecting the body is, I remember, you know, in my early 20s, I would, you know, being in the military, you know, you're like working out basically on a daily basis. And I would have these like great workouts, and for like a week, everything would be going really, really good. And I was like, I would start planning, okay, well, if I'm doing A, B, C, then I'll need to do D, E, F. And then by, you know, whatever, day 26 at the end of the alphabet, I will have it, you know, I looked at it as I'll be, you know, going up the lap. Actually, in fact, let me go ahead and do this. I am going to do a little drawing for you. Uh-oh, what did I do? Okay, here we go. So I have a whiteboard here. Yeah, so I had already just discussed a woman's body is preparing for pregnancy every single month. So what I was thinking I was doing when I was in my early 20s is I'd have a progress that kind of went like this on a daily basis. And as this was all going up, and I started seeing progress happening in my run times and my weight management, I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days went good. Okay, well then in my mind, I was thinking that, well, if I keep doing, you know, applying the techniques and the increase the intensity with each workout, you know, I should go something like this and continue to go up like this. Well, what was happening is I would hit like a peak right here. And then what was really happening was then I started, even though my intensity was going up and my drive and dedication and devotion, my workouts were going like this, and it didn't make any sense to me because I was actually putting more effort into these workouts than I had been in these workouts. And it just psychologically, it tore me up. It was frustrating. And I talked to my other female friends, female Marines, and they would say the same thing. They're like, yeah, I just don't get it. I'm busting my ass, and, you know, I should be doing like up here, and here I am down here. And then, of course, you get into the comparison of, you know, yeah, all my male counterparts and peers, they're excelling. And, you know, like in 2 months, they're going to be like up here and we're like down here. It's like, what is going on? And that's what would happen, is we would have this like zigzag effect. And so like our max performance would be right here. And, you know, they would talk about, you know, having plateaus, and, you know, the way a plateau goes is you at least would be like here instead of going down. So it didn't even make sense, because then, you know, at least if it was a plateau, okay, what do I need to do to break this plateau? But we weren't even plateauing. We were like seriously going back down. And that was psychologically, would just like mess with our heads. So once I started learning about how the hormones and the cycles are, I started learning that technically your first day of your cycle, the first day you're actually, you know, bleeding, that's your first day. And so the next 14 days, your strength and your hormones and everything that's happening inside of you, your strength and endurance is all going to be climbing up until like the 14th day, which is around your ovulation day. And then after your ovulation day, it's going to start going back down. Well, the reason why our process was only going like 5 or 6 days and then dropping down was because we wouldn't really start seeing or planning to start back up again until like day 4 or 5, because, you know, you're on your period, you feel like you're less mentally, you know, you're like, I'm bleeding, I have these cramps, I feel miserable. So these first couple of days right here, we weren't taking advantage of those days when we could have been making progress here. And then by here, it'd be like, okay, yeah, we're still going. And then we could have had a longer trail for progress. And then what we could have done is on these decline days, we could have been planning for, like here, we could have been planning for our high intensity, pushing ourselves type of workouts. And then here, we could have been planning for our endurance runs, and just, even if it was just like, just being the consistent piece. And so then we would have ended up just doing this instead of actually dropping, if we had planned our process. And then when it came time that it was day 1 again, we would have been kicking it up here. And then we would have been able to, with the type of training that I was just explaining, by having like, okay, let's do high intensity on these days, or, you know, whatever it is that we're working, strength work, let's focus on that. And then here, we already mentally know that our hormone levels are dropping and changing and shifting, because our body is thinking that we are becoming pregnant. And we know that the hormones are changing. So now we're going to work on endurance and consistency during this phase. And then we can jump back up 14 days, and then we can do some consistency stuff. So once I started learning how to do that, my body just absorbed the workouts. And I was like making so much more progress. And unfortunately, I didn't figure this out until I was like 40 years old when I'm doing bodybuilding. So, but this is what I figured out. So in my 20s, when I was trying to do this, and, you know, trying to put more effort into and still making lack of progress and actually regressing, And I was just doing this zigzag thing because I didn't understand what my hormones were doing, and I didn't understand what kind of workouts would work out best during what parts of the phases. It was very, very frustrating. And it's frustrating because your performance evaluations and your peers are judging you based off of your physical capabilities. And that's where we got into that feeling like we had to work twice as hard just to make equal standards of just like an average Marine, male Marine. So that right there, I wish I can write better with the mouse, is pretty much my description of what is happening with your hormone cycle. I'll stop shares up here. Okay, so the other great thing that I love about this app, and again, I'm sorry I don't remember what is wrong with check my microphone. May not be fully recorded. Great. So my phone is so funny. Okay, so like here you have a description in your hormone readings. It helps explain everything, and you see how it's got the bio waves. It shows you where you're going to go up and you're going to go down. You're going to go up and go down. So it helps you understand week by week, day by day, what is actually happening. So like, I'll just read to you mine today. Today's hormone horoscope. Your monthly cycle gets off to a slow start with the onset of your period, which marks day 1 in week 1 of your cycle. Your day could be clouded by menstrual cramps and or fatigue that may make you wish you could cancel all your plans and just curl up on the couch with the TV remote and a hot water bottle. But no matter what you end up doing, you'll probably want to stick close to your bathroom, as the transition from the premenstrual week 4 to the week 1 can result in a bit of loose stool and frequent urination. And yeah, that does happen to me. Tired of all the bad news about your day 1? Well, here's a bunch of good stuff you can look forward to today. Just a few hours after you get your period, estrogen starts to rise after having hit a rock bottom. And since rising estrogen is the exact antidote needed to conquer PMS, it signals the end of the sea-savvy emotions and irritation you experienced during your premenstrual week. And I did have a very emotional day yesterday. What a relief, right? It gets even better. Now you've got a whole 2 weeks of rising estrogen to look forward to, and that means a boost in mood, brain skills, energy, passion, motivation, and optimism the higher this hormone climbs. What I say, that start of the incline is from day 1. So make today better. If you experience fatigue, mental fogginess, and like I said, like my brain just seemed like it was on hold earlier, the blues or irritability during your period, one key culprit could be low iron due to blood loss during menstruation. Thankfully, it's easy to reverse. Simply load up on iron-rich foods such as beans, iron-enriched cereal, lean beef, lentils, spinach, and tofu, or pop an iron supplement, 15 milligrams for women ages 14 to 18, and 18 milligrams for women ages 19 to 50, every day of your cycle. So just of your cycle. After the cycle, you don't need to be taking any iron supplements. That's if you are not able to increase your iron supplements through regular diet. This will keep your body's supplement of this essential mineral from dipping too low once your period comes. Oh, wait a minute. Every day of your cycle. All right, so fun fact, better keep an eye on the clock around 8 a.m. throughout your week 1 and 2. You'll likely feel as though you have more time than you really do, which can end up making you late to work, school, or doctor's appointment, or an important event. That's because researchers found hormones make your inner body clock run a little slower at this time of day during this phase of your cycle. Interesting. So that, and then it also has a spot where you can take notes. So, yay, you can take notes throughout your cycle, and then that'll help you when you're trying to, if you need to go back and track things. So, and then it's got a list of contacts, subscribe to the newsletter, check out more on the web, check out more on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, send an email, rate the app. Oh, I didn't even know they had all this stuff. And then it has a cycle calendar explained. So then it goes into weekly. It explains the different color patterns that they have on the calendar for you. And it has a hormology apps, books, and more that you can purchase. And recommend it. Upgrade. Oh yeah, there's an upgrade. So the Light app, love the Hormone Pro app. With the Pro app, you can view your past cycles, you can view future cycles, keep ongoing records of the length and dates of the past monthly cycles, use the new diary feature of the stored notes over multiple cycles and emoticons to describe moods and symptoms and include personal data such as weight and temperature. That's the other thing that I used to keep track of. Add emoticons to your cycle calendar. Set up multiple alerts. For instance, to get a heads up about your period or premenstrual week arriving, tap here to upgrade to the Hormone Pro. All right, so that is my little take. I know the app that I had with the iPhone, it would tell me like there's like 1 or 2 days where it's actually good for you to consume dark chocolate, not milk chocolate, because of the qualities that are in the dark chocolate actually help with regulating your hormone levels. Let's see, what else did I put in the post? Yeah, I talked about your oh, and then the other thing that I just wanted to hit base on is, because now that I'm getting into online marketing, you know, I have a picture of me sitting in a Humvee when I was in the 29 Palms doing the pre-workup for deployment to Afghanistan. And I looked like a bitch. I was not a happy camper. And the reason why I was not a happy camper is because I'm out in this freezing ass field exercise and my period started. And it's just like, it is what it is. It's not like I didn't have a plan for it, but still it just sucked because it was just like, God, I'm not even like in an area where I can go to the shower and the head and, you know, take care of. It was just like, you're just out in the middle of freaking nowhere. And you got a bunch of, you know, males around you, and you've got some females, and, you know, they know what the deal is. But I was just miserable. Like the way I'm feeling right now, I was miserable, cramps. And, you know, of course, you can't just tell people, oh, I need a moment. It doesn't work that way. But, you know, now, and I remember so many times where, you know, I still had to hurry up and get from PT session to showering, changing over, and taking care of, you know, feeling like crap because you're in pain from cramps, and you're popping Motrin just to kind of like numb yourself from the pain, just so that you can push yourself to get to the next event. And, you know, I don't have to worry about that anymore. I don't have to worry about trying to get to work and, you know, making sure my clothes don't get messed up, and, you know, I'm bleeding on myself because I have a harder period this time. And it's just, you know, I don't have to worry about that, because this morning I was able to like, oh, yep, Wasn't planning for that, but guess what? I can go ahead and I can take a moment to myself. I can do some meditation. I can do some breathing. I can use my essential oils to like bring myself into a peaceful state and not have to worry about, well, I got to hurry up and get here, and I got to get there, and I got to get there. I have the flexibility from being able to work my business the way I want to. I can work my schedule the way I want to. And if that means that I have to work around my body because of that, I'm perfectly happy to do that now because I've got that capability. So that is the reason why I called this a cramp freedom seminar, is because I have the freedom to have cramps and it not be an inconvenience to the rest of my life. And I can respect that more now and appreciate that more. Maybe not. Appreciate might not be the right word, but I can appreciate the time that I can have to allow myself to be a woman and not have to be in the hustle and bustle. So if those are some things that you're like, want to ask me some questions more, a little bit more deeper one-on-one, I'd be happy to answer your questions about anything with the menstrual cycle. Oh, I also wanted to just share was this website right here was very informative of periodization, harnessing the power of your cycle. So it does talk about the cycles, your hormone cycles having an effect on your workouts, the intensity, the difficulty, and quality. It does go into some other aspects as far as your physical capabilities and some of the other things that are affecting you. But your breakdown of how, what I kind of explained to you, but this is, you know, like all of the wonderful scientific terminologies and pictures. If you want to watch that, that breaks it down a little bit more. But let's see, right about, no, it's further back. Yeah, right there. So that, he explains the follicular phase and the luteal phase. Again, the first 14 are the days that you're increasing your capabilities of strength, and then your last 14 is when things are starting to decline, and you can work on having a more consistency vice focusing on trying to increase your intensity of the workout. So yeah, this is where it talks about the ovulation phase, attempting your personal best. That is probably the time period that you will obtain that. And then respecting your body as it goes through the luteal phase. And here it talks about reducing exercise intensity and being able to lose fat during that last 14 days. Imagine that. That's your best time to lose fat. Ding, 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 ding. That's the best time to lose your fat, last 14 days. Of course, that also means being respectful that during the first 4 or 5 days when you're actually on your period, you're not sabotaging your progress of the last 14 days because you consumed a bunch of calories because you were, what do you call it, sympathy eating, emotional eating during your cramping period. So very, very much more in detailed information here for you. And I hope that you enjoyed this session. I enjoyed talking to myself. Maybe next time somebody will join me. All right, this is Christy Allen out. Bye.